Assalamu alaikum, Asma. How are you? Can you hear me? Asma, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. Assalamu alaikum, Sana. Welcome to the session.
वालेकुम अस्सलाम मैम, कैसे हैं आप लोग?
Thank you. I'm fine. Asma, I think is struggling with voice. उनकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Hello.
The session is live
Ji,
now.
can you
Yes,
hear me now?
yes,
Ji,
Asma.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, Asma. Walaikum salam.
Okay.
So over to you,
Ji.
Sana, to introduce Asma, and then Asma will start her session. The session is already live on YouTube, and one of you can record either Asma on her computer or Sana yourself, so that if there is any problem on YouTube recording, so we have the recording. Thank you so much.
Asma has already started. Okay, fine. Asma, I've asked you to introduce yourself. So please आप briefly अपने आप को introduce करवा दीजिएगा, ठीक है?
ठीक है. Okay.
Okay. You can start now and share your screen also.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, those who are watching. I would like to introduce myself by sharing my formal CV. For that, let me show you that by sharing the screen. So hold on for a second. Yes. By the time, let me share with you that I've been associated with the field of education for around last 20 years. And I have this privilege to work with a lot of institutes, renowned institute, elite schools of Karachi. And basically, I'm a software engineer by education. And later on, hello, wait. Okay, I think it will take time in sharing the screen, so I'll just introduce and we'll proceed to our presentation. Okay, so basically I've done software engineering, so it gave me an edge to have IT expertise as well as being an educationist, which is very important skill for today's teaching arena. And I have chosen this topic to talk about, which is opportunities. And it is actually a reflection on the chapter from the book of Creating Cultures of Thinking, 8 Forces We Must Master to Truly Transform Our School. And this book is by Ron Richard. And I would share the screen to show you about some introduction of the author. Ron Richard actually belongs to Harvard University, and he has been associated with Harvard for Project Zero. This project is actually based on already previously multiple intelligence theory, the professor who was the educationist who has proposed multiple intelligence theory, that was Howard Gardner. He actually started this project of multiple intelligence, and later on it was carried on, and now the current project director of the same project is Sir Ron Richard. If I'm able to share, I'm just looking at the screen, which I'm not finding. I think I should share either my whole screen so that I can the option,
Yes,
the
Asma,
window, I'm not able to
share
find.
your
Okay.
screen now.
Okay, actually, I wanted to share that the introduction, but I'm not able to share that, so I'll continue with the presentation. So Ron Richard is basically a very famous author, and he has some of his great publications include. Uh, 1 minute now. I think I can try and share one more time. No, it's when I'm trying to find on yes, this one. This is the introduction of his senior research associate at Harvard Project Zero. And mostly his work is focusing on the understanding, development of intellectual character, creative thinking, and making his students' thinking visible. And he has published many books, and we are talking about one of the recent and the most famous, which is creating cultures of thinking, the 8 forces we must master to truly transform our classroom. And I would like to mention here that this book was introduced to me by Sarah Hussain, Director, Teachers Development Center. And he has been very kind and to share the complete details of the section opportunities with me, which helped me prepare this presentation. And so let's begin formally with what we have in store today. This is the book, Creating Cultures of Thinking. And in this book, Ron Richard has introduced actually 8 cultural forces that define our classroom, that must define. He is working on giving this idea that we should, if we want to create thinking culture. So as the name suggests, that thinking culture focus on what the students are thinking, their active learning, which is not based on the physical activities, but to making their brain active and to finding out what they want to, like what their understanding level is. So it's all about that. And he has divided 8 forces, starting with opportunities, time, and then modeling, language, environment, interactions, routines, expectations. So today we are going to talk about opportunities only. So let's just start with this, that when you think about a teacher and the task associated with the teaching job, then mostly these things comes to our mind, that teachers do lesson planning, teacher has to prepare a lot of resources, activities, tests, assessment, and all these things. So mostly the job of teachers looks associated with all the tasks that the teacher is doing as a routine, making, they evaluate the children, they facilitate the children. We all are hearing about all these things. So this is something, what is something new that we want to talk about today is, what about teachers' role in creating opportunities? Have you ever wondered that teachers' role is also to create opportunities? And like, what do we mean by it? And why we are focusing on opportunities rather than the usual tasks that a teacher do? This is what we are going to explore today. So first, for that, we need to know that what opportunities are we talking about? Are we talking about, so these are actually opportunities to explore, to delve deeply into the matter, the matter that they are considering, to create meaning to the content, to challenge misconceptions. Take it to delve deeply into the concepts, to explore the knowledge and information, to create meaning to it, and to challenge misconception. So is the teacher creating opportunities for the students to do this? So this is all we are going to talk about today, that why this is different approach and what is new about it. First of all, we need to understand what's the basic definition of opportunities. Dictionary definitions, just simple dictionary definition, that opportunity is a set of conditions or circumstances that make it possible to do or achieve something, right? A set of conditions or circumstances, just like when we talk about facilitation by the teacher, we also, this looks very close to it, that we also talk about that teachers has to create or induce and provide an environment conducive to learning, something like that, a set of conditions or circumstances that make it possible to do or achieve something. An occasion or set of occasions in which certain actions are afforded or become possible as a, okay, so this is formal definition. So let's see that when we talk about opportunities inside the classroom, we need to see sometimes whatever the task, the activities we are doing inside the class, There are many opportunities which can be hidden, which can be untapped in all what you do. But when we talk about the different thing is that we now we are talking about the culture of thinking. In the culture of thinking, where thinking is cherished, where thinking is focused, then opportunities dominate, and they serve as a culture shaper because it constrained and it enhanced and hence it shaped the activities. Okay? It directs the students by constraining in some of the way, by enhancing some of the concepts the student is working on, and hence we can say that it helps us in shape the activities. Let's explore more about it. That we all know this thing. Many of you have been, we all are working on our ideas, that we all know that process is more important than the product. And when we talk about process means that whatever the activities, whatever the tasks that the student perform during the course of exploring the concept, study, and then the product. When we talk, when we name it, when we use the term product, then we mean that we are talking about the final result, the assignment, the project, whatever the outcome that we can see physically, or it is which is measurable in form of something that we can we can see that it is an achievement by the student. So that is the product. So we all have been working on these ideas that process is more important, that the journey through which the student goes, the experiences the child has during the class, they are very important. And we already know that most of us are working on the ideas like meaningful learning, that children must know the meaning of what they are doing in the class, whatever the concept they are studying, they must know that what they are doing, instead of just copying from the board or following the teachers doing the rote learning method. So we all are working on meaningful learning also. Personally, particularly because this presentation is like a reflection of my own reading. After reading the chapter, I realized this is my own reflection, that I was already working on meaningful learning and task-oriented learning, that we should assign tasks to the students rather than asking them to copy down from the board. We should assign them tasks in which they have to search, they have to find out, they have to, they have to be into action to get the results. And we were also working on skill development, that rather than teacher should provide such information in the class that student which will help in development of the skill, right? Rather than just writing an essay on the board, teacher should tell the students about the pre-writing strategies, brainstorming the topic, so that the skill can be developed. Same goes for all other, like this is just one example I've shared, like mathematical skills and skills of essay writing, so the basic letter writing and everything. If we provide the basic tools and guidelines, then skill development occurs. So I was personally working on these things beforehand, before getting introduced to this culture of thinking. I was already working on meaningful learning, task-oriented learning, skill development. So what is the difference now? We also know about this, that the product that we expected, we all know that what are the product that we expect from the students, which are actually the objectives on which we are working, that the student must be able to do these things at the end of the lesson. And we also know that how to measure the outcomes and how to check and evaluate the outcomes. And we also know that what the students are required to do in the class, we guide them about it. So these are called methodologies. So we already know about this thing, and this is quite common in the classroom culture. How they are asked to assemble the resources to get the product. This also, most of us are working on this, that we all should know. This is called the effective use of resources. Okay? So I'm just sharing all these things so that we can get an idea that what we are going to explore today is beyond all these things. There is some new dimensions which we are going to add to what we already know. So I hope that we all of us know about the objectives and outcome and their importance, and how to work for them using the methodologies. We also know about effective use of resources and how to guide our students to assemble the resources and get the product. So many researchers previously have talked about this. Ron Richard is not bringing something new. Like, what is new that Ron Richard is talking about? we have heard the term of opportunities before. In 2012, when Thompson, Sang, and Johnson, they have talked about in their book, and task was the term. These are all the famous educationists, and they all have been referred by Ron Richard himself. He has given this in his introduction paragraph about opportunities, that these terms have already been in use before his work. And Richard Almer and colleagues in 2009, they have used the word task. And Walter Doyle in 1983 has used the word academic work. And Newman, Bright, and Nagioka in 2001, they have used the word authentic, intelligent work. So these terms were already in use, and people were working, and educationists were working on, making the learning understanding based and based on task based. So let's see that even I personally, as I'm sharing that this presentation is actually my own reflection to what I've understood. So I will say, I want to share that I have even introduced this year a task-based notebook maintenance plan to my teacher, because I don't want, I want them to focus on what the students are doing in the class, and the work should be personalized. The work should be based on some active engagement of the students rather than teacher is directing everyone. So we have introduced this task-based sheet notebook maintenance, that instead of teacher giving a specific set of questions, teacher will be assigning different tasks to students based on understanding levels. Like the first, you can see that I've mentioned here content analysis. Then I've mentioned understanding, critical thinking, and problem solving. The teacher must know that the task she is assigning is based on which type of thinking level, and based on that, the teacher must assign different tasks to students, and they must be engaged actively in peers, in groups, or individually to perform those tasks. And heading of task and the category in which that task falls should be mentioned in the notebooks, so that we know that active students have actively being engaged inside the classroom. So after reading, after getting introduction of opportunities by Ron Richard, so what is the new thing that I've come to know? What is the big deal? Why create opportunities, not task? We already know about the task-oriented classrooms, that there should be task in the classroom. So what is Ron Richard is saying? So let's see that. Ron Richard has compared tasks to opportunities. Tasks are small. When we talk about tasks, it gives us a feeling of something which is small, which is close, which is time bound, which is limited. While when we talk about opportunities, it's opens new doors. It's something great, something beyond, something limitless. So you can see the difference. The term in itself has a lot of difference. Opportunities are not like bound. They look like that something that opening new doors for the student. So like, is it achievable as well? Like when we talk about opportunities, not tasks. So is it achievable that within the time frame of the classroom, can we do this? So for that, we need to first understand that why he's focusing on opportunities. He's actually trying to say that opportunities focus on what is actually present in the activity in terms of required and afforded actions, rather than the product. Like what are the required action and what are the afforded action that will lead the students towards giving them different opportunities. Okay, so let's see that further. Building learner-oriented school rather than work-oriented. When we talk about tasks give us a concept of work, that it is based on that we are focusing again on how much work will be produced. It's not something that what is the learning that is going to be produced. So opportunities help us build learning oriented classrooms, like in which the learning and the thinking pattern is being focused more than what is being done in physically, or you can say that the task that has been cognitive task has been assigned by the teacher. But when we talk about opportunities, we also focus on the thinking pattern that the students will be developing. Is it opening their mindsets, or is it limiting them or making them think narrowly? So it shows openness, not in size, and it does not depend on size and shape. So we can say that the tasks that we are giving to the students are only an opportunity of particular size and shape. So they are also part, but we need to widen our horizon, our mindset, and adding new dimensions to what we already know. Okay, like after reading and after getting to know about opportunities, I realized that I knew about meaningful learning. But Ron Richard is asking us to focus on learners' experience during that. Learner experience of like what the learner's mindset, thinking pattern, what the learners is thinking at that time, and what the learner is experiencing in the process of understanding. So that learner's experience is also important to know and to focus on. We knew about task-oriented learning, but he is asking us to embed opportunities inside the task. Embed opportunities inside the task. Tasks should be embedded with opportunities. And is also talking about skill development. We know that we were already working on skill development, but he's talking about thinking culture development. What is the difference in that? So if you see with the help of this diagram, that opportunity is like crafting the vehicle of learning. If you see this student, he's sitting on a vehicle of learning, and it is manufactured by opportunities. It means that when the manufacturing, what does the manufacturer effect? The manufacturer has given the machinery to this vehicle. He is the one who has provided the machinery, and all the speed and momentum and the efficiency of the car depend upon the manufacturer. So opportunities, he has used the term that they craft the vehicle of learning. Like they have the task that you are giving to the student, the learning, the overall learning of the student, it can be crafted. It's the speed and momentum can be set by giving the students opportunities. If you will not, the learning can stand still, and if you direct them correctly, they can speed on the highway. They can be speeding on the highway very soon. So to understand this further, you can see that transporting students over the threshold into the problem space to explore further. Threshold of the problem space. This he has talked about. Just like threshold is something that we are not directly probing the problem in so much, like, problems are complex. As you can see that there's a road, there are twists and turns in ahead. So we have to provide the students opportunity by giving them a framework, a base, which will lead them towards complex problems. But the job of the teacher, the facilitator, is to provide the student opportunity to explore. Like normally we give very close tasks in which they have to follow a limited pathway, and they don't have the chance to explore according to their interest, according to their different abilities the students have. They have heterogeneous abilities, so we do not allow them. Opportunities are unlimited. Task is very specific, and it is very focused on only one or some specific methodology. So let's see more examples, then you will be able to understand this concept. That we were focusing on objectives and outcomes. We were focusing on methodologies and effective use of resources. But Ron Richard is telling us to look beyond of product expected, look beyond of what students are required to look beyond of how they are asked to assemble the resources to get the product, and look at that. If we are looking beyond, then what we have to look? We have to look at what students are actually doing mentally, like their thinking pattern. Are they thinking in the right direction? How their thinking order is enhancing, like from lower level of thinking, are they going up on the higher order of thinking? How they are doing it, like are they able to construct the idea or build upon their previous idea and construct new ideas? What is their thinking pattern? Then task with opportunities embedded within them. Instead of methodologies, task with opportunities embedded within them. And we know that we teach them to effective use of resources, just like, but here we want to tell them to learn how to understand. See, this is the key thing, that not to learn Shakespeare play, but to learn how to understand Shakespeare plays. This is one example. It means that if we just focus on that, every student has understand how what is Shakespeare play and they have come to know, then it is a shallow thing that we have learned a Shakespeare play. But when you are teaching the students to learn how to understand Shakespeare play, then it means that you are asking the students to focus on the key terms that is being the overall writing pattern of Shakespeare, that how we introduce the character and how the characters transform throughout the journey, and what is your opinion developing when you are going through that chapter. So the teacher probes the question like, if you have seen a character in this novel, then how when you started reading the novel and later on now you are in the mid of the play, so what is your perception, what is the change in your perception for this character? That, like, when we are probing this question, we are asking students to share their thinking, that what they were thinking initially and how their thinking has developed now and where it has reached. Like, maybe initially they did not know that this person is going to be so much cruel, or they did not analyze this personality. Is there anything unexpected they have witnessed or they have observed? So this we all are talking, we are not talking about the character, we are talking about the thinking pattern that students have developed while. And then later on we have to ask the students to support why you think that, why did you realize that he was a cunning fellow, at what point in the drama you realize these things. It means that to embed opportunities, wait, to embed opportunities in task, what we have to do is the teacher needs to have a genuine interest in expression of a student's thinking rather than usual question. It means you have to probe questions, you have to ask questions which will ask the students to explain, to express their thinking rather than the usual question about character, about the play, about the author. We are asking students to express their thinking patterns that has been developed throughout this task or this journey of reading the play. And then probe questions that lead to making them focus on how to understand. Example, Shakespeare play rather than learning the play. This I've already explained. Then it focuses on keeping the keeping understanding, learning, and independence as primary goal. Like when we are doing all this activity, when we are creating opportunities, we are embedding opportunities in the task, then we know that we are working on the understanding, learning, and independence. Independence, we'll explore more about independence now. Once you will keep trying to focus on building the culture of thinking, the right word will start emerging naturally. Here I'm talking about just like which type of questions will lead to make students express their thinking. You may be thinking that I need training for this. So for that, that author is saying that if you will keep trying to focus on building culture of thinking, then automatically with practice, the right words will start emerging naturally, that how to phrase the question, how to ask the question to make them express their thinking. And I was talking about that I was talking about over here that you can see that when you ask the student, when you probe the students to perform some task. Wait a minute, can I mute myself for a minute? Acha. When you ask the students, sorry, I needed to 10 seconds break. So we'll continue that when we are teaching the students, when we have led them first that what you are thinking, and we have asked the question and they have expressed, then the next step is to ask them to take them to the recent arguments by asking them to provide evidence or support your point of view, that why you think so. For that, they will have to analyze the document, they will have to research, they will have to reread, and they will have to find out that why they said this. Maybe subconsciously, sometimes when we are reading, we develop some mindset, some point of view. But when we ask them to find the reason or support your point of view, then they have to go through the text and they have to find the evidence and support, and this will lead them to the reasoned arguments. The next thing is, it's not necessary that all the question has to be whatever has been discussed inside the classroom. They have to be answered then and there. Like if some students are having problem and they're raising some questions, so we will not let the class discuss it then and there, and so someone else will answer. We can ask them that this is a thought-provoking question, and I'm leaving it hanging in the air, and I'm not helping you out in this, and I want you to think about it and come up with your with your point of view tomorrow, whatever your. So it means that big, complex, and perplexing issue should serve as ongoing motivation for understanding. Like today, you are leaving some question that that is not yet answered, and it is leading them to a more complex thought. So we'll leave that as a motivation that they will delve deeper into this concept, this supposed literature, and they will find out, and they will share their understanding of the issue later on. So this transports the students to the threshold of the problem space, which I've tried to show you with the help of this diagram, that we are taking the student to the threshold of the problem space by leading them with the help of thought-provoking questions to the big, complex, and perplexing issues. Once they will reach to the edge of the problem space, they will be able to explore it with later on with further reading and deeper understanding. So how the teachers, this strategy of transporting the student to the threshold, it's called low threshold, high ceiling task. Right? It means that initially we start with low threshold. It means that we start with very easy tasks. Suppose we have been talking about the character of Shakespeare. So we can ask them to jot down any 10 characteristics of that character traits of the person that is coming in your mind. So once they will jot down these characteristics, we can ask the whole class to do this task. When the whole class will participate in this task, then they all will be able to share the information, and then we can ask them to focus on few of these characteristics, or choose any 3 character or 5 characteristics and work on them, and then support your argument and reason about it. So it means that we started off with a low threshold task, and then later on we are taking it to the high ceiling task. So it means you can read the definition that low threshold, high ceiling task offers the opportunity for everyone to get started and everyone to get stuck, because it's going to be complex later on. However, in reality, the task alone is not enough. It is not enough. It cannot be solved just by the low threshold that we have given them. Initially, we just ask them to jot down the key terms, the key character traits of the person. So it looks very simple task, but in reality, the task alone was not enough. It has to be supported along with some high ceiling tasks later on. So low threshold, high ceiling tasks, which are called LTHC, they show the growth mindset. They are based on growth mindset. Growth mindset focus on what we can do rather than what we can't do. Like if we initially just start directly with high ceiling task, then it gives the student a feeling that, oh, I can't do it, it's very difficult. How will I write the complete analysis of the personality? How will I start? How will I do? But when you start with low threshold task, and then they are able to, they think that if they can do this thing, they have a sense of achievement, and then it leads them towards something which with the approach that they can do, and they start building on their low threshold achievement. Everyone can participate. Like it's given as a group that you announce it in the class, and everyone has to participate and everyone has to give some contribution on the information. And once this information is available to everyone, then which has built-in extension opportunities. Once that information is given to everyone, everyone can use that information. So we can say that this LTHC, it has built-in extension opportunities in the task. Just like there are many case studies which are shown by the author in this. I'll share some of them with you. Just now we are talking about the character development. Then later on we can allow students, some of the students, based on their interest. If the student has interest in mathematics, I'll share the example later on. First, let me finish these points, that what are the characteristics of LTHC. In next slide, we are going to share some example of the case studies. So it also serves as beginning of an analysis. Like we started off with some fixed information, and then we can further ask the students to analyze them. Everyone can take part based on their mental capacity and interest. How? Because these are some of the examples. That's if we are using mathematics to literally construct the character in the literature, like you have to use mathematics to tell, you have to associate degree of that character, each character trait, associate a degree. Just like suppose that character is cunning, 3 out of 1, you can associate a degree, and you can ask the students to make a formula out of it. You can ask the students to use the differentiation that we use in mathematics to analyze the personality. And there are different tools and apps available which we can ask the student, those who have interest in IT and those who want to, because we are dealing with generation alpha who are more comfortable with computers. So we can ask them to use an app to prepare customized report, expression of thoughts. There are apps available in which they can put pictures and text, and they can record their voice and produce a documentary. So based on this, we are saying over here that everyone can take part based on their mental capacity and interest. If the student want to describe in the form of essay, report, article, they can do that. If the student want to describe in the form of mathematical expression, they can do that as well. So what will be the benefit we'll get out of it by giving them the confidence of can do rather than everything in the form of notes? Teacher is asking them to giving them opportunities to be create thematically. Some are doing it in the form of art, and it is giving an open-ended by own choices, and it is so.
It's okay, Aasma, you can continue.
So we were talking about the benefit that LHC gave us, that it give an open-ended opportunity to students to express self-differentiating task, and the students can shape their own the task based on their own choices. So you can see that the difference that initially we were talking about task-based working in the classroom. It was very specific, and it was making students follow only the direction given by the teacher. But here the students can self-differentiate, and they can shape their own their task based on their own choices. And it is also giving natural sense of ownership to the students to whatever they are doing, and there is no comparison between the students that who has done it better and who has done it. This is like he scores more marks in this because he has used mathematics, and this girl has depicted it with the help of art, so she is not going to get good marks. There is no such product oriented comparison between the students. Only the teacher is making sure that everyone is owning what they are doing, everyone is engaged, everyone is able to comprehend based on their own abilities and capabilities, and based on their own confidence level, in which if they are comfortable in using the app, they are free to do that. If it is very diversified, and increasing, the difficulty level is increasing gradually. Once the task is initiated, everyone is engaged by low threshold, then they are assigned to work deeper into the analysis. Now we'll talk about some of the constraint of this methodology. Like if we follow this opportunity-based method, then we should know that opportunity-based approach works best in learning-oriented schools, not in work-oriented school. Because as I told you that it is very difficult to grade the students in this way. That if you cannot, although those classes which has worked on Project Zero by Ron Richard, they have really produced marvelous results in their IB exams and O-level exams as well, international level exams. Marks are always guarantees once the excellence is there, once the concept is there. But inside the school system, if your school is focusing on grades and they need concrete grades to marks oriented and work oriented, they have to represent students work in concrete form, and the school is not learning oriented and does not appreciate that, then opportunity based approach cannot work over there. If the school model is focusing on knowledge acquisition only rather than understanding and challenging students, and they just focus on the completion of syllabus and limited curriculum to be completed, and is not ready to focus more or give more time to understanding and challenging the students, then this approach is not going to fit in that system. If the student have low engagement and they are just, suppose that you have started low threshold method, but the students are not motivated enough, or they are not the teacher is not trained enough to motivate them, and they want to be just happy after crossing the threshold, they are not ready to touch the ceiling, they don't want to go for the higher order thinking levels, then also this approach won't be that much effective. So I would like to mention in the end that the key to this opportunity-based approach is to create learner-centered schools with high student engagement, focusing on student thinking pattern and transporting in direction of their interest, leading to higher order thinking by the facilitator, by the teacher, and by the school management, and staying focused on process that lead to learning without letting the product dominate. So we can say that this is how the thinking culture will develop in the classroom. It is one of the force that is very important and very, very crucial. And it is just the beginning of opening new horizons by creating opportunities. So don't just be a facilitator who assign tasks, be a facilitator who create opportunities for the students. So with that, I would like to end my presentation. I hope this was something topic of interest of most of the teachers who are working on new ideas and who are trying to implement, who are trying to focus and develop the better understanding of their students.
Yes, Aasma, have you done?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Aasma, for the providing us a lot of knowledge and enrich our information regarding the tasks of the teachers. It's really a great informative session for all the teachers and for the students as well, and for those who are on the at the growing stage, the new learners as well. Thanks for your time,
Thank
and
you,
thanks
Sana.
for the great session. It was
Thank you
really
so much.
lovely session to hear some good opportunities like that you told us in your whole presentation. Thank you so very much.
You are most welcome, and thank you for appreciating.
Thank
Allah
you.
Hafiz. Allah
Allah
Hafiz.